This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
The people that are on their phones, the ones that's causing the accidents.
These brave West Virginians lost their lives in the service of their country.
The events of January the 6th are profoundly important.
I said, I'm probably too old. And they said, if you could pass the physical, we'd love to have you.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. Staring down a storm, the Arctic blast that tore through the mighty Midwest this morning zoomed across the U.S. and is currently blasting Rochester, Ithaca, Williamsport, and State College. Minnesota took a hit today.
330 vehicles sliding off the road, spinning out, about 30 people injured in different crashes.
There are lake effect snow warnings in 10 counties in New York and 32 counties in Pennsylvania, along Lakes Erie and Ontario, as well as gale warnings, offshore flood warnings, and advisories for most of the rest of us. 55-mile-an-hour wind gusts predicted, and for the snow belts, 12 to 22 inches of snow. This man is traveling through it to get to family. His message to drivers?
Pay attention to what you're doing. I mean, the people that are on their phones not paying attention to the ones that's causing the accidents.
300 snowplow drivers are at the ready in New York alone.
Give yourself plenty of time. Be prepared for the unexpected, especially if you're traveling by car.
With more details on the timeline, here's meteorologist Kevin Williams.
Everybody will deal with the wind gusting past 40 miles an hour tonight and Thanksgiving Day. It'll also make, by the way, maybe for some interesting views of that Macy's parade with the balloons there in New York. But the lake effect is the question. The flow late tonight into tomorrow will be from the west-southwest. So that'll mean areas east and northeast of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario will be under the gun. Then those winds turn into the northwest, and that will mean the band shifts south. So, for example, the Lake Erie band moves more and focuses on the western Twin Tiers. It also makes it into central New York. Those are the concerns for Friday into Saturday for lake snow. In these snow bands, it's going to snow an inch or two an hour, and the winds will be producing whiteouts. But outside of these snow bands, you could be seeing some sunshine and just a passing flurry.
Also a huge temperature plummet on the way for all of us. Our high today, 56 degrees. Our high tomorrow, 31, and will stay in the low 30s for at least 7 days. 2 West Virginia National Guard soldiers have been shot and killed in Washington, D.C. near the White House. The mayor of D.C. issuing this statement.
These brave West Virginians lost their lives in the service of their country. We are in ongoing contact with federal officials as the investigation continues.
Moments ago, President Trump called the shooter an animal and said one person is in custody. He said whoever's found guilty will, quote, pay a very steep price. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen is with the Armed Services Committee.
That's President Trump for you. And I can tell you, because I know him so well, I guarantee you he'll also be on the phone with their families, because I've never seen a man care so much for his military than President Trump. He's going to take this will take priority to him, and I guarantee you all these individuals involved will be brought to justice.
Again, details are scarce, but 2 National Guard troops were shot and killed in Washington, D.C. today. They were part of a patrol ordered by President Trump in August as a crackdown on crime. Vice President J.D. Vance is serving mashed potatoes today to U.S. troops in Kentucky.
Happy Thanksgiving, man. You want some mashed potatoes? Pass it down. You good? Okay, thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Vance, his wife Usha, and their 3 kids served a Thanksgiving dinner to U.S. troops at the Army base at Fort Campbell. White House peace envoy Steve Witkoff is heading to Moscow next week to try and negotiate an end to the war with Ukraine. National security analyst Dr. Rebecca Grant thinks for the first time in a long time, there's real chance for peace in Eastern Europe.
I think peace is on the way for Ukraine. This war needs to end for America's sake, too. It's unleashed geopolitical chaos with China, Russia, North Korea, and it's a humanitarian disaster.
The war has been raging for nearly 4 years. A biological man won the world's strongest woman competition last weekend. Organizers say American athlete Jamie Booker concealed his gender before competing.
The organizers said they were not aware of this male's transgender status, and that when they were made aware of that fact, they acted swiftly and decisively. They disqualified him, they revoked his titles, and they reallocated the points and awards that were actually earned by the female athletes.
Fox News contributor Kaylee McGee-White says for those taking part, like second-place winner Andrea Thompson, the damage has been done.
Andrea Thompson lost her moment on the podium because of this male. Another woman was denied a spot in even competing in the finals at all because this male was competing instead. These harms can't just be redressed after the fact.
They lit the Olympic torch in Greece today ahead of the Milan-Cortina Winter Games.
Bad weather moved the torch-lighting ceremony from Olympia's ancient stadium to a nearby museum. The Winter Olympics begin February 6th.
At CBS's Michael Wallace. And a new Gallup poll shows nearly 1 in 10 U.S. adults have been diagnosed with cancer at some point in their lifetime. Dr. Randall Lee with the Fox Chase Cancer Center.
This is a survey of the prevalence of cancer in the U.S. And this is very different from the incidence of cancer, which is the measurement of the number of new cases.
Dr. Lee says the incidence of cancer in younger Americans is troubling. More people under 50 are being diagnosed with colorectal and breast cancer. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, more on that storm that is now here. A train hit a few cars in Pennsylvania today, and January 6th could be in a history textbook in New York near you. Those stories after weather.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast for tonight, ending up windy and turning much colder. Rain showers flip to snow showers, low temperatures dropping toward 30. Lake effect snow late tonight and Thanksgiving Day, setting up in areas east and northeast of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. In those zones, there'll be some tough travel with heavy snow accumulations and blowing snow. But outside of those lake belts, they'll be just variably clouded with scattered snow showers and flurries. High temperatures Thanksgiving Day, mostly in the 30s.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Checking the stories, making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Our top story remains this Thanksgiving Day storm. 12 to 22 inches of snow due for the lake belts, as well as 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts and a 20-degree temperature drop for the rest of us, with some snow squalls possible. Erie County Public Works Commissioner Bill Geary tells WKBW they'll be ready for whatever old man winter dishes out.
We'll have crews on the ready, as well as working probably around the clock from Wednesday afternoon through Friday afternoon when this is designated to let up. Just give the plows plenty of room. Don't crowd them. Just be very vigilant and have situational awareness.
Should be all out of the way for your drive back home after the holiday. In Pennsylvania, a Mifflin County road closed this morning after an accident involving multiple vehicles and a train in Lewistown. The road now back open. No word on any injuries. A pair of Democratic New York State lawmakers want to make it mandatory for public schools to teach students about the January 6, 2021 incident at the U.S. Capitol. Democratic Assemblyman Charles Levine tells Spectrum News the events of that day are important for students to learn.
The events of January the 6th are profoundly important as they touch upon, do we want to live in a democracy, or do we want to live in a nation that hides the truth of its past? And our children will never, ever learn if we hide the truth from them.
Levine says decisions on characterizing the incident, such as whether or not to call those who participated in the event insurrectionists, should be left up to the State Board of Regents. A bill banning race-based hair discrimination is now law in Pennsylvania. The so-called Crown Act makes it illegal for employers to discriminate based on hair type or style. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro signed the bill yesterday.
We know that this is an issue that disproportionately affects Black Pennsylvanians who wear their hair in protective styles like locks and natural braids or twists.
House Speaker Joanna McClinton says the Crown Act makes it so employees are judged on qualifications, not appearance.
Wherever you work or wherever you're applying for a job, they can't look at your hair and size you up, not based on your qualifications and all of the professional development you have and all of your education. They will not look at your hair and decide you can't work here.
Last year, there were more than 900 complaints in Pennsylvania related to racial discrimination based on hair type. A new study shows 900 people leave New York State every day. That's one person every 2 minutes and 23 seconds. And the Christmas tree arrived at the Pennsylvania State state capitol in Harrisburg today. It's a big ordeal to get the 25-foot Douglas fir in the front door. So says WHTM.
The crew has to take apart the revolving doors just to get it inside. That's just the beginning. Getting a tree this big upright is another chore. It involves a lot of people and a lot of rope pulling.
Jason Snyder heads the general services team that gets that tree in the building.
This is my 21st year of doing. This is my 21st tree. So it's always been fun. All the guys are always getting together, the whole crew. They all work so well together and things like that. So it's a great time of year.
The tree was grown by Crystal Spring Tree Farm in Carbon County. They'll start decorating it next week. Next at 5, highlights from today's edition of Real Answers. The topic, underserved church members, especially at rural churches. Our own Mark Webster sits down with Christian counselor Chris Anderson. Let's listen in.
In Western New York, Central New York, all the way down into Pennsylvania, we've got rural areas that just have a hard time meeting the needs spiritually of folks in rural areas that don't have a lot of population. So this is a really timely topic for a number of reasons, and it's really good that we're talking about it here, especially maybe in light of Thanksgiving week here and when everybody's thinking about giving and serving.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. It's about sharing burdens.
Absolutely, and of course we know there's that 80-20 principle we're all used to a lot of times in churches, where 80% of the workload is done by 20% of the folks in the church. Sharing resources or even encouraging. Now, I might be ruffling some feathers out there, particularly of some folks that do believe like, hey, this is our church, your church home is here, you got to stay in one spot. Boy, I have to just be honest with you. I think that is a very unhealthy mindset.
Yeah, almost an outdated business model, you might say.
Exactly. And if we're not careful, then, of course, what's really happening then is our churches just end up in a competition with one another, as opposed to looking at ways of saying, hey, we are all the body of Christ. How can we best serve an area that traditionally suffers from a lack of resources and a lack of effective outreaches? And so I think we have to remove some of those old-fashioned blinders, if you will, and just say, hey, look, we've got a group of folks here that they're not getting met necessarily here. How can we then partner with another church?
That's licensed Christian counselor Chris Anderson. You can hear the entire interview under Real Answers at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
Martin Luther once said, "I have held many things in my hands and I have lost them all. But whatever I have placed in God's hands, that I still possess." Hi, I'm Rob West with your Faith and Finance Minute. It's a lesson we all need to learn. God's will for us isn't more stuff, but a deeper, closer walk with Him that transforms every area of life. In Luke 12, Jesus reminds us, seek His kingdom, and these things will be added to you. And in 1 John 2, we're told, do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Enjoy God's blessings, yes, but never let possessions push Him aside. True peace, joy, and lasting fulfillment are found in God alone. Discover the best Christian financial articles, podcasts, and videos by visiting our website, faithfi.com, or by downloading FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, are you feeling like you're too old to work? A few aches and pains? You don't want to miss this guy's story after one last look at weather.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Well, here we are, Thanksgiving weekend upon us, and the weather looks unsettled as a potent low and cold front combine to produce changing weather conditions and return to some wintertime weather. Forecast details for tonight ending up windy and turning much colder. Rain showers flip to snow showers, low temperatures dropping toward 30. Be lake effect snow late tonight and Thanksgiving Day, setting up in areas east and northeast of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. In those zones, there'll be some tough travel with heavy snow accumulations and blowing snow. But outside of those lake belts, they'll be just variably cloudy with scattered snow showers and flurries. High temperatures Thanksgiving Day, mostly in the 30s. Lake snows on Friday will shift south to areas southeast of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Elsewhere, variable clouds, flurries, brisk and cold with high temperatures in the upper 20s and 30s.
Thank you, Kevin. Finally at 5, never too old to save lives. Ed Levine retired in 2013 from a high-stress advertising career. It wasn't until age 64, though, that he saw a sign for what to do next. a literal sign outside the Bethesda Chevy Chase Rescue Squad looking for volunteer EMTs. Despite battling emphysema and chronic pain, he thought, why not me? Telling CBS,
I called up. I said, I'm probably too old. And they said, if you could pass the physical, we'd love to have you. Who knew?
He passed, becoming one of America's oldest rookie EMTs, and then proceeded to rack up more than 13,000 hours running calls with men and women who could pass for his grandkids. Levine surprised a lot of people, but not Department Captain Gregory Mitchell.
He's a smart guy. He's a caring guy. It really doesn't take a lot much more than that. And I don't think anyone doubted that he'd be able to do it.
Now 76, Levine isn't running calls anymore, but is still active, training junior EMTs, and has no plans to stop.
I don't see myself as being old. I'm older, but I just don't think I'm old. You can retire from your career. That's okay. Retire from life, then it's over.
Who knows? Maybe there's a spot waiting for you at your local fire department. And that's the world that we live in for Wednesday, the 26th of November. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.